Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to the listening public, the beautiful people here on the island of Nevis, those in St. Kitts, those who are listening all across the Caribbean. I say special good evening to our friends and family in places like Sabre and Statia, those who are in Sunshine City, St. Martin, Rock City, St. Thomas, those who are over there in St. Croix, and of course St. John's, Smithy and the boys there in St. John's. I want to say good evening to all of you. For friends and family who are maybe at UE in Barbados or Jamaica or Trinidad, who might be listening to this show this evening, good evening. Anguilla, always in the house, and I say good evening to you. And of course, when we go outside the Caribbean and we venture over to the United States and Canada, we have a large listenership there, and I say good evening to all of you and those who stay up late into the night to listen to us in the UK. Good evening as well. It is a beautiful night here on the island of Nevis, and I'm very, very happy to be here to spend 2 hours with you, God willing. We're here each Wednesday from 8 to 10 p.m. for what remains the only show of its kind in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. 2 hours of commercial-free talk radio. 2 hours of commercial-free primetime talk radio. This is a very important initiative that we embarked upon over 2 decades ago, and it has been sponsored for the entire time by the law firm of Daniel Brantley. And so I say thank you to them for their hard work and their willingness to spend money to support freedom of expression here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Thank you very much for joining us. For those who are perhaps joining for the first time, my name is Mark Brantley. I'm the host of the show, and I happen to be at this point the Premier of the island of Nevis and the leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement, one of the leading political parties here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I am absolutely delighted to be with you and to spend time with you from week to week. We have some ground to cover, and so let me get into a few things. Before I get into anything, let me just check my phone quickly, because I was sent an important notification and was asked to say this on here. And so let me see if I can pull it up. And yes, it says the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, in collaboration with the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, will be applying to the Green Climate Fund to implement the St. Kitts and Nevis Transwater project. This is a low-carbon climate resilience initiative that aims to strengthen the country's resilience to climate change, increase water storage, reduce water losses, improve water use efficiency and service delivery, and develop a capacity building and community outreach program to support project implementation. Studies and reports for the application to the Green Climate Fund are in the final stages of preparation. As part of that process, the consulting team will be carrying out a field visit from 7th to 17th April, specifically in Nevis on Monday, April 13th, with the support of the Nevis Water Department. During the time, we'd like to meet with stakeholders for the purpose of providing feedback on the projects and allowing opportunities to engage. While they plan to meet with government and non-government agencies during the day, a special radio program has been planned for Monday night from 7 to 9 p.m. on Vaughan Radio. I imagine that's Monday the 13th of April. Let me just double check to make sure that the 13th of April is in fact a Monday. I don't want to be giving any inaccurate information tonight. And so April 13th, yes, is a Monday night. And so from 7 to 9 p.m. on Vaughan Radio, there'll be a special engagement with the public on this Transwater project. And so I've done my duty. I was asked by my good friend Floyd Robinson to read this on air, and I trust and hope that people will be guided accordingly. As you know, water is life, and water and the development of water infrastructure has been one of the pillars of my government's tenure in office. And let me say that I would want to congratulate the Honorable Spencer Brand. He has led that with distinction, and we have made some significant strides in water and the production and availability of water on the island of Nevis. As I listened, I think I commented on it last week, that as I listened to the Honorable Congress Maynard, the Minister with responsibility for water on St. Kitts, in the House of Parliament in St. Kitts, the National Parliament, speaking to the commissioning of the desalination plant, which will supply water to Bastia. And he made an observation that really has stuck with me when he said that for the first time in 15 years, for the first time in 15 years, the people of Bastia will have water 24 hours a day. That stayed with me because the people of Nevis have passed that a long time ago. Not the people of Charlestown, the people of Nevis. Not the people of Gingerland, the people of Nevis. Anywhere and everywhere on the island of Nevis has potable water 24 hours a day available to our people. Sometimes I think as governments, we either don't talk about it enough or the public takes it for granted. But I keep saying that development has to be deliberate. Development has to be intentional. It is not by happenstance. It didn't just happen. It had to have had a plan. It had to have had policy that drove it. And here on the island of Nevis, I think we ought to be proud, all of us, because we have taken taxpayers' dollars and we've invested significantly in water and water infrastructure over the years. I talk about it because I think it's important that our people do not take these strides for granted. And if we just look across to St. Kitts, where in 2026 the government is boasting that for the first time in 15 years, the people of the capital, Bastia, will have water 24/7. When here in every little hamlet, in every little village, from deep country to town, in Nevis, people have been accustomed to 24/7 water. That is just the norm in Nevis. And sometimes when infrastructure, good infrastructure, becomes the norm, people end up taking it for granted. What I mean by that is people ended up saying, oh, that ain't no big thing. That's no big deal. And you know, I see it all the time because there are divisions, and I keep saying that some of us, regrettably, are our own worst enemies. Because if you want to hear Nevis called down to the lowest, get an division to do it. Particularly an division aligned with the opposition. The things that they say about this island, you would think that we are the worst. Not only in the Caribbean, maybe the worst in the world. You would think when the Bible talks about people going to hell, Gehenna, that it is Nevis. They're talking about how some of these people speak about this island that we all claim to love. That's the bit that gets to me. We claim to love it, but the things that we have to say about this little island are simply incredible. And what I find to be remarkable is the fact that it just does not accord with the facts. Now here, just 2 miles away in St. Kitts, they've been having so many water issues. In Nevis, no water issues. Why? Because we have solved those issues. Where we had issues in the past, we took deliberate government decisions to invest and to solve them. Millions of dollars. In fact, when we last did an analysis, I think we're up to nearly $50 million spent in the last decade and a half. Here on the island of Nevis, we would have invested in new distribution systems across the island. Then we invested in water storage capacity across the island. In fact, even as we speak, we've just commissioned a 30,000 gallon tank for the farmers in the river, and we're about to commission a $500,000 tank up in the Stony Hill area. And now we are trying to get new water. The last report from Minister Brand is that the wells that we've dug so far, we're almost up to 1 million gallons of additional water per day. We also commissioned a desalination plant. All of this being done quietly, but being done to ensure that the people of Nevis have the necessities for a quality life. And each of us knows the frustration of when you turn on a tap and there's no water. We are happy to say that this CCM government has made it possible that that reality is a thing of the past. And unless there's some major breakdown, pumps fail in Nevis, we have been able to provide water to our people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, not only in the capital, but in every nook and cranny, every hill, every valley, every hamlet, every village on this island called Nevis. I believe that we ought to be proud. I don't view these accomplishments as simply a government accomplishment, because at the end of the day, all of us use water. All of us need water. It is an accomplishment for our island, and I think that we ought to bask in that. We ought to appreciate that. We ought to celebrate that. I reported last week that I listened to some discussions in relation to WAPA in the U.S. Virgin Islands. WAPA, which has access to federal funding from the United States of America, deep pockets, and the huge difficulties that people are having there with water, with electricity across the Virgin Islands. And I commented, here we are in Little Nevis. We're not getting any help from anybody, you know. Nevis has been paddling its own canoe. And we are able, with the little that we've been able to get, we've been able to do remarkable things, because that's what happens when you put people first. You put real development first. Some feel that development is about handouts. You give $500 here and $1,000 there, and you give. And I said, boy, that's a good leader, because he give you money, we got money in we pocket. And I often reflect in my own quiet moments and say, what is it that our people really want? We prefer to have, as I say, money in we pocket, but no water to bathe, no water to shower, no water to flush your toilet or cook your food. You prefer to have, as you say, have a $500 in your pocket, but no reliable electricity. What really do our people want, and what really constitutes development? And these aren't arbitrary or superficial discussions. I think the country needs to have a reckoning. And the type of leader that I try to be, and I think the type of leadership that we need not only in our country but across the region, is leadership that is prepared to have the real conversations with our people, so that our people understand what the realities are, not as we would like it to be, but what it is, and what we therefore must confront. I think that that's important. And sometimes when you take up money, and instead of giving a double salary, you decide, well, let me fix this road, or let me buy an engine for Nevlec to generate electricity, or let me fix the water supply. Let me build a desalination plant. People say, oh, I prefer if you give me the double. I want the double. But you give the double, and then after you get the double, you have no water in your pipes. A new hotel or a new development wants to come, can't supply water to them because there's no water to be had. And I have made the comparison over the years, and I'm going to continue to make it, because I recall that some on St. Kitts, using the echo chamber on Nevis, they started a campaign against me and my party and my government, said that we wasted money. We were bad spenders. We were not good handlers of the public purse. But I believe it was King Conrys who did the song, says, show me your trophy. And they say the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And so if we in Nevis are bad spenders, then we spent money on water to make sure that every Nevisian household has water. If we are bad spenders in Nevis, then we spent money on electricity. We purchased 3 generators in the last decade to ensure that we have a more reliable supply of electricity on the island of Nevis. If it is that we are bad spenders, then look around and see the road infrastructure. Look around and see the various investments that have been made on the island of Nevis. Newcastle Police Station. Some say it looks like Four Seasons. Water taxi facility. The Mondo track facility. A new Treasury building in Charlestown. A CCTV facility. And as we go around this island, we find more and more examples of a government that is looking after its people. And if that, my brothers and sisters, constitutes bad spending, so be it. Because our people have benefited from that, not today for today. Because when you give a man $500, that's today for today. You're benefiting from it in terms of long-term investments and policy prescriptions that propel this island forward. What we did in terms of single parents and assisting them with daycare, novel program. What we're doing in terms of the RISE program to help families out of poverty, not by giving them a handout, but by giving them a hand up. All of these are initiatives that this government has done. Our seniors program. Someone reached out to me from Antigua to say that it is the best program they see in the entire region is the seniors program here in Nevis. I believe that there's much that we as a people should be proud of. And that is why it aches me when I hear some try to paint this island as if it's the worst place in the world. Some of those who are unpatriotic and in their lust for power. And I argue all the time, well, if it's the worst place in the world, why you want to get your hands on it so bad? Why you want to get control of it so bad? Most people are trying to escape places that are bad. And if according to you, Nevis is the worst place in the world, then why you don't try to escape it? No, you're trying to get into government. Think about it. The things that they say. I heard one of them made a whole campaign out of saying that St. John's people were poor. Say how much people in St. John's are living in poverty. And I smile. But sometimes that's all you can do. Because that particular candidate for the opposition, talking about people in poverty, and I said, well, some develop a social conscience early and some develop late. And I reflected to myself and I said, but if it were possible under the law to extend her contract long beyond the retirement age, I wonder if she would have discovered that people in St. John's or anywhere else for that matter were in poverty. Because you see, there are too many people out there who are seeking self-aggrandizement but are trying to use politics and language of love and affection for their brother man. They suddenly find out that the poor need to be fed and that there are difficulties in communities that need to be solved. But they only find out that after they get vexed with me or vexed with somebody in government. And most times they get vexed with me or vexed with somebody in government because of something that they didn't get. Something that they wanted for themselves but didn't get. I have yet to hear any of them reach out to me and said, Premier, Tom over in Zion needs some assistance with something. Mary over in Brownhill needs some assistance with something. Susan over in Newcastle needs some assistance with something. No, when they come for them. They say, I need something. And when for some reason you are unable to satisfy that I who needs something, that I then starts to cuss you up and down, call you the worst person in the world. And then that I then goes out and says, I love people and I need to help people. Put me in government so I can assist people. Well, if you're 60 years old and you just find out you love people, something is wrong. Something is very wrong. Because all of us know each other, you know. And that is the thing that I keep pointing out to our people. We know each other. This is not a big country where People show up and you don't know them. We know each other. We know where you live. We know what you have done and what you have not done. And so when we look at some of them who are now seeking to persuade the people of Nevis how much they love them, and I ask the question of myself all the time, I wonder if that newfound love for the people of Nevis, as a pretext to get into government, to rape and pillage and take advantage of people, whether that newfound love would have come if they had got what they wanted. I wonder sometimes. Because you see, you can't fake it, you know. And I said to some who want to get involved in politics and some who are involved in politics, you can't fake it. I see one fellow there for the NRP say he was going to run, or was running, I can't even remember. And I see partner was pulling up by the square, I believe it was on a Sunday, and say he's feeding those fellows in town in the square. Well, I believe the election was upon us, and so I think he went once, twice. The election come, he get broke in, and he never passed back. I said, wow, fellas in the square don't eat anymore. You see, that is the nature of these people. Because I'm going to go and give something to somebody in the square and take a picture and take a video and put it on Facebook to say that I care. But a week later, the election come and I lose, and I know, forget that the fellas in the square need food. That is the nature, and I think that people know it, people see it, people understand it. We sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, have to call things for what they are, because there are too many vagabonds masquerading and trying to pretend that they're like people when they have never done a thing in their life to help a soul. Not one thing. But they come to you now, and the strategy is twofold. Cuss Mark Brantley, say all kind of thing about him. Cuss his family too. And then tell the people how much you love them. But you've never done anything to help anybody. You've never done anything to demonstrate that you care about anybody. And even now, you know, sometimes I hear some of them and the things that they have to say about me, the awful things. And sometimes I have my mother of blessed memory, Vicky, a beautiful woman, her admonition in my head playing. Mark, never help somebody and talk about it. And it's plain. And I thank her for that wisdom, because some of them, when I hear them on radio and I hear the things that they say about me, and I say, but wait, the number of times I helped this Martel, the number of times I assisted this person in that problem or that problem, and the things that they have to say. But my mother tell me, Mark, do not help people and talk about it. And it's good advice. You know why? The more some of them talk and the more some of them go on, is the more, in my experience, that God blesses us. Because you see, God knows the heart of man, no matter the pretense. We all come with this face about we love people and we care about people and all. God knows the heart of man. And God knows when you went with the 2 plates of rice and chicken in the square, that it was not genuine. It was not caring. It was a photo op. And the proof of it was that the minute the loss happened, the chicken and rice disappeared. People in the square didn't eat anymore. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we have to deal with from time to time. Now I look at investment and what's happening on the island. On my way here, I went to a little get-together at the Four Seasons, and I want to publicly thank again the Homeowners Association of the Four Seasons. There's a lady called Anne Highly Gurgley, I think her name is. I hope I got it right. There is Tanya Lowe, and Tracy Lunenberg, and others. But they have been in the forefront of assisting the island of Nevis in setting up a state-of-the-art 911 emergency dispatch system. And I can't thank them enough. They spent hundreds of thousands of US dollars on equipment and even more importantly on training. And they have continued that training. Do you know that Nevis now has trained, certified dispatchers? When you call 911 in Nevis now, it's the same as when you call 911 in major countries around the world. They keep you on the line. They talk to you. They dispatch police, they dispatch EMS, they dispatch who needs to be dispatched, fire. And the system is seamless, quality controlled, highly trained. And I feel so proud that Little Nevis has been able to establish a state-of-the-art dispatch system to deal with emergencies. It was a gap in our service delivery, and the homeowners came to our aid in putting this in place. And I was very happy to be there with them tonight and to thank them, because I think that this is an important initiative, led as it was by the Ministry of Health in Nevis, but with their support, both technical and financial. Many here in Nevis probably still don't know that we have a state-of-the-art 911 dispatch system operating on this island now for the past year. So if there's an emergency out there, brothers and sisters, just pick up your phone, any phone, you dial 911. And a professional certified 911 dispatcher will answer that call and ensure that you get help in the shortest space of time. If you see a crime that's happening, if you have an emergency of some kind, you're able to get assistance immediately because of that investment in that 911 system. As I was there tonight, we spoke about CCTV. And again, many aren't aware that this island of Nevis and this government that I'm privileged to lead, that we have over the years rolled out first a fiber optic network across most of the island. That's government owned. And secondly, a CCTV network that covers a significant part of the island of Nevis. And this is no Pambi-Nambi network that I'm talking about. You know, this is a first class, first world, state-of-the-art network. When I look at the capacity and the capability of this network, it is cutting-edge technology that is at use here on the island of Nevis. And we have some Nevisians here go about their business every day. We like to use a word, we say they're ordinary Nevisians. I don't like the word, but it's a word sometimes in use. Because in my opinion, every Nevisian is extraordinary. But people who are working, keeping us safe, dispatching ambulance and fire service and police to us when we need help. And all of that, ladies and gentlemen, has been done under my government, for which I am truly, truly grateful. Honored that we could deliver this type of service to you. That even as you sleep at nights in your beds, it's not just about making sure that when you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to use the bathroom, that you have running water. That every time you flick your switch, you have electricity. But also to ensure that if there's an emergency of some kind, you have trained professionals on the end of a phone who are there to help you. I commented tonight that a lot of these things do not get much attention. People either take them for granted or some may even tell you they're not aware. But these are the quiet investments that are made that truly, truly transform an island and transform a country. That truly allow us to say that we are on a path of sustainability, providing for our people. It may not provide a photo op of handing out a plate of food, but it provides long-term, sustainable, realizable benefits to our people in terms of their safety, their security, their standard of living, their quality of life. You know, ladies and gentlemen, when I approached the Taiwanese government and I asked them to assist us in building the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park at Pinnis, a dream, as we know, of the late great Malcolm Gishard. And when I approached them about assisting us to realize that dream, there were many who said to me, "Man, what park you talking about? That money could be used to build something, put up a building somewhere, do something." And I said, you know, it is important that when we look across the landscape of any country, that quality of life and investments in people's quality of life is important. And having a park where our people can go and relax, our people can go and paint and write poetry and write books and write songs and have fun with their families, play a bit of football, whatever it may be, adds to the quality of life of the Nevisian people. That MGR Park, of which I am very proud as an insignificant investment in this island, is an example of an investment in the quality of our lives. I could say the same about the Bath stream and the transformation that has happened at the Bath stream. And I understand very much, I understand very well that some have been resistant to the improvements that have been made. We have provided bathrooms and changing rooms. We have provided an atmosphere that is first class. And yet some come and they still insist that they're going to use soap and put all kind of shampoo and noxious things into the bath stream, dispose of things that ought not to be disposed of anywhere in public. And they do all this manner of things. Some of them feel that it is a form of resistance. One of them, in fact, saw me and berated me and said, "Nobody send you go fix up the bath stream. We used to like it how it was. Nobody send you go fix it up. And nobody gonna tell me what to do." And I said to our people again, these are investments in making the lives of all of us better. These are investments when we walk and we look, we should be proud. When our people come home, as they walk around, they should be proud. I ran into a family today. And the two daughters, they said, one said they live in Atlanta, and one said that they felt like they were tourists, strangers in their own land. And I said, "No, you're not strangers. You're home. I want you to go home, go around your home and enjoy what your home has to offer." And then the younger of the two beautiful ladies, she said, "Nevis is looking so beautiful. Nevis is looking nice." And I'm encouraged by that. You know why? Because so often when we listen to the airwaves, we listen and we look at what people put on social media and the picture, the dismal, desperate picture that they try to paint. And I'm grateful when I hear people who say, "Nevis is beautiful, Nevis is nice." We appreciate the roads. We appreciate the water. We appreciate the electricity. We appreciate how clean you try to keep the island. We understand it's a shared responsibility. We appreciate the MGR Park, and we appreciate the cultural village and the Nidax cultural complex. We appreciate the Bath Stream. We see what you're doing at the Bath Hotel to renovate and bring that back to its state of glory. We see what you did with the Deputy Governor General's residence and grounds, which I remind some of you out there who pretend to have short memories was left to rot, not by us, but by those who claim they love Nevis. It was left to rot, and the Deputy Gigi was moved across the street to a little house. We decided that we must restore that property. And what a beautiful, beautiful edifice it is. A place now where, with dignity, our Deputy Governor General can entertain and can host dignitaries from across the world, can have events, hosting our people for independence and the like. Again, not by happenstance, by investment, by treating these matters as important for the people of Nevis. We drive by now and we see it, and some of us forget that it had been abandoned. Totally abandoned. And these are the things, ladies and gentlemen, that I feel we ought to celebrate. It's not about me. I tell people all the time that I'm on the stage for whatever time that God and the people of Nevis allow me, and then I am leaving the stage for somebody else to come on the stage. Governance is continuous. What I'm hopeful is that the people of Nevis continue to choose the right people to govern, so that we have good policies, as I am describing this evening, to help us, give us the quality of life that advances us. That, for me, is what is most important. That is why I'm passionate about what I do, because I did not come to politics for self-aggrandizement. I didn't come for money. I didn't come to try to make something of myself. I came to see what little I could offer to advance this island that I love. That is why I'm here. And some people said to me, how you put up with all this? All these stupid people say all kind of stupid things about you. How you put up with all that stupidness? And I said, I put up with it because I am committed to the people of Nevis, because I owe everything that I have, my life and everything in my life, to this little island of Nevis. I'm not like some who pontificate from afar. I'm not like some who identify every problem but cannot offer a solution. I'm not like some who talk about jobs and employment and the economy but themselves refuse to work, and definitely will not invest a penny. No. Nevis is me, and I'm Nevis. I give my all to this island, and that's why I'm here. Not because I have to be here. I'm here because I want to be here. And that, I think, is an important leadership quality. When you are so invested in your people, you're so invested in the advancement of your people that you are here with them through thick and thin. If bad comes, I want to be here in Nevis to experience the bad with the people of Nevis. And if good comes, I want to be right here experiencing the good with the people of Nevis. Nothing gives me, as the Premier of Nevis, but beyond the Premier of Nevis, as a man, as a Nevisian whose navel string bury right down there in Scarborough, nothing gives me as much satisfaction as seeing Nevisians prosper, seeing them rise to the top. It makes my heart glad. And when I look around and I see people who are not from Nevis, but who are coming here and themselves are prospering, I say, praise be to God. I thank them for coming. I thank them for their contribution to this little island. Whether you're from Guyana, you're from Dominican Republic, you're from Dominica, Grenada, if you're Vinci, Jamaican, Trini, wherever you're from, some Africans are here. Some Haitians are here. We welcome you. And you know why I am so open and welcoming? It's because, one, I recognize that we are all from the same tree, Mother Africa. Two, I recognize that Nivisians have traveled to distant lands for years. My own father, blessed memory, lived in distant lands and supplied the little that we needed to be able to eat right here in Nevis. And the Caribbean story is a story of migration, initially forced upon us from Africa, and then thereafter our people fanning out, go to North America and Canada, to the UK and Europe. And so any political party, any political movement, any people on this island of Nevis who are against immigrants, they are denying the very essence of who we are as a people. And I'm not going to join them. You know why I'm not going to join them? Because there's a level of hypocrisy in some of them. I remember a fella I used to run against. I believe, well, I think he's retired now, because, you know, you can't take them kind of blows there and not retire. But that fella was one of the fellas out here advocating a policy of sending home Guyanese and rounding up Guyanese and Jamaicans and getting them off Nevis. Xenophobia had taken hold here on this island. And one day somebody called me and they said, but imagine a man who using his position in government to take advantage of the immigrant population when all of his siblings except one live abroad. Sometimes, you know, is when somebody call you and tell you something that your eyes open up. All of them live abroad. Totmoon, Samba Guy, and Mary too live abroad. But here he is in Nevis. I harass people and want to deport people. And you know what the reason was? They say that the people who come here from other countries vote CCM. That was the only reason, you know. It was about politics. They said they vote CCM. Well, if people are coming into a country and they meet a country that is well run, where jobs are abundant, where they can find a way to make a way for themselves and their families, where they can send back like we used to do and say, sister come, brother come, children come. I have arrived in Nevis, a land of opportunity, come. And they then said, well, we are supportive of those who have created this environment so that we can come and prosper. Well, you're vexed about that, so you declare war on these people. And just recently, you know, came across some information in relation to the leader of the NRP. I haven't heard much about her recently. I'm not sure if she's still the leader, but the last leader I know the NRP had. And when I came across the information, they said that the lady was born in the UK, born in England. And I started to smile to myself. I said, but the way that some of these people behave, the negative attitudes, the scorn and derision, and almost hatred. In fact, I think that's an appropriate word. Because if you round up people at 3 o'clock in the morning, you got the way you hate them. And your leader not even born in Nevis. Your leader has English citizenship. I could set up my navel string buried on Scarborough. Those of you who don't know Scarborough, it's down Hanley's Road. My mother didn't even go hospital. Them days there when you're poor, you can't afford no hospital, the midwife got to come to you. So I remember when my younger sisters were born, a lady come down the road in a white nursing uniform. And then they make us leave. They make, me a little boy, me had to leave. And then you come back later and you have a new addition to the family. You don't know where they come from, but you have a new addition. My navel string buried in Nevis. I didn't come here from anywhere. And yet those who came here from somewhere, whose navel string is buried somewhere else, are telling people who are coming here and trying to make a life for themselves that they don't want them here. How is that right? These are things that we must think about. We're creeping up on the hour. My soliloquy is almost over. Today I went down to Pinny's Beach. And I went because I wanted to check on the progress of the newest investment and business being opened down there. And I was impressed. What I thought was a very small lot in which much couldn't be accomplished, I was impressed at what they were able to accomplish. And I was even more impressed to meet one of the investors who said to me that they expect that they will be open in another 2 weeks or thereabouts. And when I see investment, I see contractors working. A young man from right there in Cane Garden was there hanging the doors that he had made. Small businesses getting a bite. A good friend of mine was on the inside doing some painting. Small businessman getting a bite. And then they said to me that because they're going to be doing coffee and fancy coffees and all of that, they took someone from right here, sent them away for the last several months for training, so that person can then come back and train others. I think about how much TDC and Hosfords and Island Tires and the electricians and the plumbers and all the other artisans and business places, how much it would have made from that little investment. I thought about the people who now are going to work there and get a weekly wage, many of whom may have it as a second or third job because some now have that option in Nevis. And I felt good. And I looked at this investor, not originally from here, but people who have come here, have become citizens and have made Nevis their home. Not like some who come spend a couple of weeks and got the most negative things to say, but some who have made Nevis their home and who are investing. And I want to make that distinction because there are lots of people who have come to Nevis and have bought a home and who have the capacity, the financial bandwidth that they could invest and help us advance this island, but they don't. They have their home and that's all they have here. But they're very quick to jump on social media and elsewhere and pontificate and tell us, the Division people, what we must do and what we mustn't do. These individuals, one of whom I spoke to today, I admire them greatly. Because they didn't just come and sit down on their money. They have come and they've invested. They provided opportunities. They provided employment for many on this island of Nevis. And I say thank you to them. We need more like those who are not about talking on Facebook and chatting foolishness, but are about investing and building. We need more people like the homeowners down at Four Seasons who saw a gap and said to the people of Nevis and the government of Nevis, we will partner with you to give you a brand new state-of-the-art 911 emergency dispatch system. And so it was said, so it was done. That is what we need. And so I went down there to Pinners, and I ask any of you, drive around by the restaurants. It's a beautiful addition to what we have there. The building has what they call curb appeal. And I'm told they're going to be doing some amazing coffees and ice cream and various things there. They will, of course, tell you more when they open. But I was very impressed with what I saw and the quality of what I saw. And that, brothers and sisters, is what Nevis is about. It may not be a major investment all at once, but it is a number of investments. And I tell people, you know, you could have a bucket that holds 10 gallons, but if you have 10 1-gallon buckets, it's the same 10 gallons. And I go around this island, and every little business I find, I promote. You know why? Because I want to see micro businesses become little businesses become medium-sized businesses, and medium-sized businesses become big businesses. We must support each other, support the business community, and the government has a duty, which we have been fulfilling, of providing the necessary infrastructure, framework, incentives to allow the business community to thrive. And so kudos to those owners and investors, and I certainly look forward to them opening that establishment and to seeing a first-class establishment. I'm using that word a lot tonight. First class, world class, first rate, because that's what Nevis is now about. Praise be to God. There's a lot more that I can talk about, a lot more that I have on the agenda. But I've had one or two complaints where people say they need more time to speak when they call in on the radio. And so at this point, I will open the lines. And the numbers, as always, are 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. This is the portion of the show now that becomes your show. And so I invite you to call in and to share your views and opinions with us. We start by saying, good evening, you are on the mark. Hello? Hello, caller?
Good evening, Miss Sheriff.
Yes, good evening, my dear. You're on the air.
Philippians 4, verse 7 and 8. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, if there be any virtue of anything, think on these things. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the beautiful scripture. We're taking your calls. It is 5 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock, and the lines are now open. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Some people argue that they can't get in when the show is coming to an end. Well, you can get in now. And when you get in, you get an opportunity to develop your points and to make your arguments. And so I invite those who may wish to call in and be a part of the show. Now, whilst we wait for the phones to ring, I'll continue to discuss a few other matters. And please feel free to interrupt me by calling in. Okay, the phone is ringing, so let's go back. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening.
Good evening, my dear. How are you?
I'm fine, thank
Yes.
you. Lovely program tonight again.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm reading Psalm 25, and I'll read 3 verses for now. Unto thee, O Lord, do I lift up my soul. O my God, I trust in thee. Let me not be ashamed. Let not mine enemies triumph over me. Yea, let none that wait on thee be ashamed. Let them be ashamed which transgress without cause. That's the reading of the scripture. May the Lord add his richest blessing unto it. And you do have a good night there, and all the best to you. Okay?
Thank you very much. Tonight is a good night because we started with 2 scriptures, and so I'm very grateful for that. And I thank you, caller, for calling in and for sharing your scripture with me. I just want to remind the public that these scriptures aren't scripted. I haven't asked anybody to call. They choose a scripture and they call and they share, not just with you, not just with me, I'm sorry, but with all of us. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark. Hello?
Premier Brantley, good night.
Good evening to you. You're on the air.
Premier Brantley, good night.
Yes, you're on the air. Go ahead. Good evening.
Yes. And good night to all the listeners. Premier Brantley, if you recognize me, come on last week. Because when we end off the other week, one caller called in and said that me pull on your program. You remember that?
I don't recall, caller. I'm sorry. Mm.
No problem. But Premier Brantley, tonight, now your deliberation, I explained to you base, you may talk about short memory. You remember you bring up the word short memory?
Yes.
Exactly. So that made the last and call. And you even let me tell you how you respond to the call. You say, caller, he took the time out to call. So you took the time out to call and make your contribution. That made your last word because the bell me ring at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they got touch some stuff that you said tonight. But more to go back from last week. I want to ask you a couple questions. Me listen to one conversation and me hear that the government of your CCM administration not do no business with 2020 Vision Radio. Anything goes up?
Who named 2020 Vision Radio?
You ever hear about 2020 Vision Radio?
I'm saying who? Who's 2020? There are lots of radio stations in the country. Who's 2020?
2020 Vision Radio.
Uh-huh.
Not lots. Only one 2020 Vision Radio.
Okay, so what is the question about 2020 Vision Radio? I'm curious.
The government of the day, which is the concerned citizen, your government, not do no business with them. I advertise on the radio.
But I'm not understanding. What are we obligated to do business with any particular radio? I don't know that we do any business with ZIZ either. I don't know we do any business with Win FM.
ZIZ, they think it. Although I think it's Nevis, ZIZ, they think it. I'm talking about one radio station with a Nevis.
So, yes, but I'm still trying to understand your point. So you're saying that we are to do business with every radio station in Nevis?
Yes, as one government.
Oh, okay. All right.
So why the reason?
Well, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know who the government does business with. The government has hundreds of thousands of workers, hundreds of various departments and ministries and well, not quite hundreds, but scores certainly. I can't tell you tonight that who people do business with. I simply don't know how to answer that. You have brought up something and you are making a claim that the government doesn't do business with a particular establishment. I don't know anything about that.
The government got on marketing manager, marketing system that they do marketing with the people who marketing manager.
No, the government wouldn't have a marketing system. The government has various departments, and depending on what it is those departments are doing, they may have the need to put notices on that out on radio. I know, for example, that the government, not just my government, but successive governments have had a relationship with Von Radio. Von Radio is the most widely listened to radio station, perhaps in the Federation. It is the powerhouse of the Caribbean, not only here in the Federation, but is listened to across the region. And I know that for years we have partnered with Von Radio. But if there are other radio stations, then I can't tell you yea or nay in terms of whether the government notices will go to them. You are making the claim, so I suppose you have the information.
Me got the information. You're the premier. You're the premier.
But you're the one who calling and saying that the government doesn't do any business with a particular
okay,
business
premier,
place.
Let me move on from that because,
Okay.
I mean, people are listening.
Yeah, please move on. And
Yes,
you're right, people
yes,
are listening. Yes.
Yes, people are listening. Okay. Last week, you may praise up and say that you sent seven athletes to carry Festa. And then you may put the blame.
No. Caller. We sent 7 young cricketers went to the under 15.
No, not the cricketers. Me not talk about
Well, I didn't say nothing about 7 athletes. 11 athletes went to Carifta games, not Carifesta. Carifta games.
Well, it may come better then.
Well, I'm saying 11, right? So I'm trying to correct you and try to explain to you that you maybe misheard.
Right.
Right.
So you make a little better. Right. And you said because of grass. You said that because of the track. You remember you said that?
Caller, that's
because
not.
of the track.
Call again, please. If you're going to try to speak about what I said, I did not said it was because of the track. I said that it was because of investments like the track, like qualified coaches in the schools. You heard all of that?
Yeah. Me hear all that.
All right. If you hear all of that, then you must speak to all that you heard, not some.
Premier Brantley,
go ahead now.
You may base on the track. And you even say that yes, you recognize that you're supposed to hold because probably at the stadium you may promise the people of Navis, but the whole point of it, you may base on the track, and you may talk about other people that grass, right? So that's why you answer the question. If because of the track, you get to send 11.
That's a question you're asking?
Yeah.
And I'm going to answer you because I was trying to answer you earlier, but you see, sometimes people are going on a road and you try to help them. You clearly don't want to be helped. So let me answer you again. Let me answer you again.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
The reference that I was making was to the investment that this government has made in facilities for our athletes. I mentioned the track because prior to that track, our athletes did not have a surface to run on. They were running on grass and dirt.
Right.
And I also mentioned the investment in coaching.
You're right. Me hear that.
I also mentioned that we sent 4 students at one time to J.C. Foster College in Jamaica to be trained in sports, who are now here making their contribution.
Yeah.
It's a combination of factors, caller, that has led to Nevis now being able not only to send 11 members of the team, the largest number to Carifta, but also in the federation to have the only medalist. Young Mr. Newton, congratulations to him. He got a bronze medal.
Yeah.
These things have not happened by chance. They happen because of investment. That's the point that I was making.
But Mr. Newton, no me medal last week at the last question me asked about. Mr. Newton medal between now last week and now. You get me? So the point that me make is me tell you now that other places send them athletes down there with running on grass. So if on the track you're supposed to send more.
Oh, okay.
That are the point that we may make.
Oh, you're not gonna point at all.
Yeah, okay,
right? Because if you move from a position to a different position and you're seeing improvement and advancement, then the question is, why has there been improvement and advancement? Rather than looking at that, the point that I was trying to make, you're now saying, well, you should be sending more people.
Yeah.
But you're ignoring the fact that the improvement and advancements have contributed to those people now having proper facilities to train on. Are you saying that that is useless?
No. You see, that's why I use the word early. Short memory. Right? Because of what you mean, but seems like you recognize the amount of time that you emphasize track because of the track and running on grass. This is what I'm trying to tell you. But Okay, let's move on, Premier Brantley, because you should people listen.
Yeah, come on. Make a last point and then maybe come back later because some other people want to call in.
Okay, so let me make the last point. That what you said tonight now. You say that when you check the leader of the opposition banned England. You remember you said that?
Yes, Carl, I remember what I said. You're taking up excess time telling me if I remember. Yes, I remember. I just said it a minute ago.
All right.
Yes.
And then you say, how somebody who born in England can around the people to send them home? You remember that part?
Caller, get to your point, caller.
The point is,
yes.
Me ask you the question now that you base can hear. Since the leader of the opposition, who born in England, take power.
There's no leader of the opposition.
You're not anybody that she round up.
Caller.
You're not anybody that she round up and try to send them home.
Caller, first of all, there's no leader of the opposition. All right?
But the Premier Brantley used to so
Caller, will you? That's what I keep telling you. You refuse to listen, and if you don't listen, we're not going to be able to learn from each other. There's no leader of the opposition. I said the leader of the NRP was born in England.
You know, use the word NRP tonight.
Caller.
Premier Brantley, you did not use the word NRP tonight.
Caller.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's no leader of the opposition.
Okay, no leader of the opposition, not the house, because of technicality.
Caller.
But tonight, you know, me use the leader of the NRP.
Caller, there is no leader of the opposition. Are you going to debate that or you accept that?
Me go accept there is no leader of the opposition.
Okay, full stop. Let me leave that now. So there's no leader of the opposition. So first of all, I wasn't talking, caller, I wasn't talking about any leader of the opposition, because there's none. I was speaking to the leader of the NRP.
Yeah.
And I was saying, factually, that that woman was born in the UK. Not here. I never said that that lady was involved in rounding up anybody. I said, caller, it's either you crazy or me crazy, because I don't know how you can round up people if you're not in government. I spoke to the party, the NRP, and when they were in government, how they rounded up people, and that their philosophy as a party remains an anti-immigrant philosophy.
Premier Brantley, people are going to get the tape there.
Well, let them get the tape, caller.
Back for you tonight.
Caller, let them get the tape.
Yeah.
Because it's either you crazy or I'm crazy. Because you keep calling in trying to get a gotcha moment, and I don't know why you're even trying. Most of the time, it don't seem to appear that you even understand what you're listening to. Right?
People are going to play back the tape with you tonight.
All right, caller.
And you're supposed to play back the Pastor Maynard tape.
Caller, let's
give me an answer.
Caller, let's move on, and we'll get somebody else to give them a chance, because tonight is not a good night for you.
Okay, then, Premier Brantley.
All right, brother. Take care. 10 past the hour of 9 o'clock, we're going to take some calls. And I urge listeners, when they're listening, just pay attention, because sometimes people are hearing what they want to hear and then coming in and calling in and think they have a gotcha moment. And I don't know why it is. Let's have a conversation. Let's respect each other, to be sure. But you can't have a gotcha moment with me by telling me that I said things that obviously don't make any sense. Right? How are you going to accuse somebody of doing something when they were never in a position to do it? You can only speak about the party that they lead and the ethos and thinking of that party, and the NRP is an anti-immigrant party. I say it because that's the evidence. Let me go back to the phone and say, good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Honorable Premier Mark Brantley.
Good evening to you.
Okay, concerning Thursday, we select the best performing athlete to represent St. Kitts and Nevis, right?
That is as far as I know, yes.
Okay, so Abita Nimdari qualified for javelin with 53.20.20 meters, and Jasana Henderson qualified with 52.51 meters, which is a 0.69 difference. Okay?
Yes.
Abija also attended the Inter-High in St. Kitts and placed first with 57.99 meters, which takes the highest distance for Chorister qualification. So I see that Jaheim Clark and Desano Henderson had the opportunity to represent St. Kitts and Nevis, and that opportunity wasn't given to Nimdari. Why? It's because he's a foreigner, and if that is the reason, does that mean that there is no opportunity for foreign children living in St. Kitts and Nevis?
Okay, so let me unpack that. You say he's a foreigner, meaning what? He's not a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis?
No, but he attends school here.
Okay, so that might be the reason. I say might because I'm not involved in the selection process that is done by the St. Kitts Nevis Athletics Association. But
Okay, well, he attended last year.
he attended Carifta
Last year, yes.
for
And he
St. Kitts
placed-
Nevis?
He placed third last year, but I guess with I'm not sure what the situation was, but his name Abidjan Nimdari showed up on Trinidad newsfeed for third place, but they sent Desano Henderson to collect his medal.
Well, this is the first that I'm hearing, but going back to the point I was trying to make, it is not that Nevis does not provide opportunities for persons who are non-citizens, but sometimes in relation to these types of events, you have to be a citizen of the country that you're representing. So you cannot, for example, be a Jamaican national, meaning you have a Jamaican passport, but you're competing for St. Kitts Nevis, or you're competing for Antigua. That is, as I understand it, the rules. I know even in terms of football, that a lot of times we get overseas-based football players, but they have to be citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. We cannot have a Trini running for St. Kitts and Nevis or a Trini playing football for St. Kitts and Nevis. The international requirements, as far as I understand it, require that the country would have to have citizens. If it were not so, then it would mean that if you had a country with enough money, they could go around and buy up athletes from all around the world to represent that country. So there's a requirement that the people have the citizenship of the country in order to compete for the country, under the flag of that country, at international competitions. That is my understanding, and that could be the only explanation that I can come up with as to why this young man would not have been selected to represent St. Kitts and Nevis, because he doesn't yet have a St. Kitts Nevis passport.
He was selected for Carista, but apparently they had two other persons that did javelin. But from what I'm seeing, from hearing from the person, from his family, from the posters on the St. Kitts Athletics, on Hotspur, I think Hotspur is a sponsor on it. If you look at it, if you go through it, he has the highest mark. He placed first for Inter-High in St. Kitts. He made the qualifications for Carista, and because I don't know, I'm not saying, I'm just assuming that because he's a Guyanese, he didn't get to represent St. Kitts and Nevis, and he represented last year.
Well, the last year bit is what has me puzzled, and so I need to get to the bottom of that, because that is rather strange to me. Because if he is not a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, my understanding is that he cannot represent St. Kitts and Nevis in regional or international competitions. That is my understanding. If I'm incorrect in that, then I would have to check with the St. Kitts Nevis Athletics Association to determine. Can I ask you to do me a favor, please? My number is 662-6003. If you can WhatsApp me the youngster's name, I will come back to you tomorrow and let you know what the position is, because what you're telling me is news to me, and I'm very surprised to hear that
Okay,
that is the position.
Can you please repeat the number?
662 6003.
6003. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're most welcome. So send me a message. Send it tonight before your job sleep. And forget.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
All right. Thanks a lot. All right. It is about 16 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock, and we're taking your calls at 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers if you wish to be a part of the show this evening. And we ask you to call. We try to provide answers when we can, and if we don't, we try to get the information and provide you with that information. So if you're out there and you want to be a part of the show, those are the numbers to call. While I wait for the phones to ring, I just wanted to comment very quickly on the fact that It has been reported in the international media that the United States and Iran have arrived at some temporary ceasefire. They're suggesting a 2-week cessation in hostilities. And we are hopeful that that ceasefire, which I gather was brokered by Pakistan, that ceasefire can in fact take hold, and that this foolish war, and that's all I can call it, this foolish war that is being waged, that it can come to an end. Now, why am I interested in the war coming to an end? Besides my humanity, and I think all of us should be concerned about suffering, that people are suffering and dying, and children and women and helpless people and innocent people are dying. I think that the also issue has to do with the fact that the Strait of Hormuz is closed, and once that artery is closed, it means that international trade is going to suffer. It means that trade in oil and fertilizers, trade in terms of natural gas, and when that suffers, it means therefore that the prices are going to rise. Price of fuel, the price of power, the price of transportation. When fertilizer cannot get through, it means, of course, that you have a problem now with farmers and them getting fertilizers in order to plant crops. We can therefore have food shortages. And so I am very happy to welcome that ceasefire and hope that in the 2 weeks they can work out a permanent arrangement. Let's go back to the phones. Caller, good evening. You are on the mark. Hello, good evening, caller. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Brantley.
Yes, you're on the air.
Yeah, recognize that the phone line then dead, so let me come back in. You some radio time here.
You called to kill them some more?
No, remember last week you said me hot. You hot because you talk about down the sink it, go down to go resurrect nobody and so forth, and you say we me hot. But we can recognize that tonight the phone line and ring.
Okay.
Anyway, let me give you some business.
Let me see what business you have to deal with.
Yes. Short memory again. Remember, you remember me, you had one conversation and you may talk about when you made the foreign minister, you make ties with Taiwan, and how the Taiwanese the Federation money for the geothermal. You remember the conversation there?
That the Taiwanese gave the Federation money for geothermal?
Yeah.
No, caller, I had never had that conversation with you.
No, you know, make that you listen, because of what you may say, that's why I know really you make that the conversation with the base, with the citizens, right? And so that people make nice when you may go out there and make ties, but if one of the food come off, and then me call in and me ask who received the money, and you may say that what the energy man don't think its name, the Calypsonian.
Money for what, caller?
Geothermal.
Caller, I'm not aware that the Taiwanese have given us any money for geothermal, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, okay, no problem. Tonight, tonight, you may when you approach the Taiwanese with some project that you got there.
The Malcolm Gishard Park. The
right?
Malcolm Gishard Park, yes.
Right. But the reason why me go back they think is because when me ask because you may say you receive the money. So me ask who received the money? And then you said that Congress received the money. Sorry for calling like that, but you know. MP Congress Maynard. MP Maynard.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, try to be respectable. Try to be respectable. Yeah. You tell that's why me go back there. Because you tell me, let me tell you, but you don't get the money. You say no, because from one international basis, Nevis wouldn't recognize. Think it's Nevis, and then that's why the foreign minister for Sankit don't have to collect whatever, because Nevis itself wouldn't recognize like that from one from an international basis like that. You remember that part there?
Well, caller, that is generally true in terms of the recognition of Nevis internationally. But in relation to Taiwan, once it is that the project and Nevis has the support of the federal government, then the project proceeds. So I'm still a little curious because it still has to go through the federal government in terms of approval.
Well, and that's why me go back there because tonight now, he like why you may say you know say nothing about this tonight, you know. You may base on your approach.
Caller, you know the radio time is valuable, you know. And you're calling twice tonight now, and you're just like, you're block clock up the line, you know. Because no, you caller.
Me say, Brantley, just wait. Me know you read the program, but just wait. Let me explain what I'm explaining.
Let me hear.
Tonight, you know, say nothing about the federal.
So what is there to say about the federal?
But you just tell me just.
But caller, I approached what I said to caller. What I said tonight. I approached the Taiwanese about the park at Pinnis.
Right.
And the Taiwanese provided the support to do the park at Pinnis. What is there the need to say about the federal?
Right. This I may ask if the Taiwanese on one-to-one basis provide park to you, straight to you, or if he got you the federal to get the park to you. That's all we want to find out.
But caller, I have said that ordinarily, once you engage with the Taiwanese on a project, once the federal government signs off on the project, then the Taiwanese engage with us.
Tonight you said that.
Well, but okay, so let me ask you something.
Let me give somebody else one chance, and if me get back.
Okay, caller. Well, you know,
good.
try to come back tonight because you're not on a roll tonight at all. Normally, normally people love to hear you, but the standard tonight ain't that good. Because I am trying to understand all night. You're taking up valuable radio time, and you know,
explain.
But we can't understand the point them you're trying to make. You're trying to score points. And you know what I mean, you score own goal.
But they score.
I mean, I know where them score, but maybe.
Let
me tell you. Them neither score in Salem, Charleston, nor Basti. I said them neither score in Salem, Charleston, or Basti. Have a good night. All right, brother. Right? I just, you have some fellas love radio, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the fact that this caller calls. But, you want to have a conversation that is leading somewhere. And that's based on something. This conversation, well, you never been said this. You say 1 + 1 is equal to 2. Well, you never been said that. I mean, call that, Take the rest of the night off and let's continue with the show and see if we could get some other callers in so that we could actually get some substantive issues on the table to discuss. So I was going back and talking about the fact that this ceasefire has been announced. It's only 2 weeks, but I am really hopeful that can hold. I'm particularly happy to see a country like Pakistan, which is involved in this, and I commend, of course, Pakistan, the Prime Minister there, and it is my hope that this can hold. Now, tonight I was watching the news, and they were saying that the fly in this ointment might well be Israel, because whilst the ceasefire has been announced, Iran is saying that the ceasefire applies also to Yemen and to Lebanon. But Israel today continued its bombing of Lebanon. And so I realized that the Vice President of the U.S. is claiming now that Lebanon was not included. And Iran is now saying that if Lebanon continues to be bombed, they will retaliate. So we still have some ways to go, and I'm hopeful that peace can prevail. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark.
Hey, good evening, my premier. What's up?
Good evening to you, man. Good to hear you.
Hey, I just want to send my sympathy out to my brother and the whole entire family, man.
Bye, Addy.
Yaba, King Yaba.
Yeah,
King
Addy.
Yaba.
I'm happy. I'm happy you're calling, man, because I want to extend my condolences to you and Clover and the whole family as well. I think the whole of Brownhill really was shocked to hear about the passing of King Yaba.
Yeah,
so,
man.
you all made any arrangements yet?
Well, yes, the funeral is the 17th. I'll be home Tuesday coming.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll see you when you come, Addy. My condolences to you and the whole family.
Man. Thanks again, man.
Okay.
Thanks again, man. Respect.
All right. Okay, my brother. Good.
All the best, yeah.
All right, good. For those who might be wondering, the Brownhill would have lost, You know, as I'm now thinking, I'm not even sure what his correct name is. And I don't even know the people of Brownhill would know his correct name, because all of us know him as King Yaba. And we would have lost King Yaba. I got the word that we would have lost him. So that was his brother, Vaughn, lives in the Virgin Islands. And so I just wanted to extend my condolences to the family and to all of those in Brownhill, really. You know, Yaba was well known. He worked with us down at the Mondo Chuck for many, many years. And, you know, just a quiet, keep to himself, do what he got to do, never involved in any trouble or any difficulty. And I just want to extend condolences to his family. So we continue with the show. It is now 9:20, what? 26, 27. It means we have about a half an hour left, 33 minutes or thereabouts based on the clock here. And it means we can therefore take some calls at 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Ladies and gentlemen, I started off the show by talking about the progress that we are making on the island. And I think that we're making steady progress. Some things are happening here which are good things. I was at the Four Seasons, as I commented earlier, attending a particular function. But one of the things that struck me is how busy the island has been. Car rental agencies are doing a brisk business. Businesses, restaurants are doing a good business. The hotels seem to be doing a good business. And I'm very happy to see that happening. It's April, and so I'm optimistic that that continues as far into the year as we can take it. Well, let me go to the phones and see who's this and who wants to say hello. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, good Night, Honorable Mark Brantley.
Good evening to you, my brother.
Yeah, calling in from Sinkit as usual.
Yes.
Mark, don't get so hype up, man. Take it easy. Any election coming around, don't get so hype up.
I saw on hype up tonight?
Yeah, man, you hype up, man. You hype up.
Okay.
This past program, you hype up. You're not hype. Anyway, that's the name of the game, eh? You got to speak it out there to the people, them, you know?
Yes.
No, Mark. Now, you know that we have a problem down here because you got this same thing with the land, with the sustainable zone over there in Nevis. Now we got a problem over there, I think it's South Friars Bay, with some land people was down here, some vendors were doing the business plan for years. And I don't know if these vendors, I never met none of them yet, but all at once now, the land them claimed by someone, so they're private land, and they want them to move the business, locating them somewhere else, and the vendors them decide not to move. They ain't gonna move.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mark, let me tell you something. I want to know, right, if this is the same problem like in Nevis, and I want to know that if these land went into Parliament to pass to these people to come in and build a hotel. Just look away so the people are going to come in and do what they got to do in Nevis, so we develop whatever as a special zone. Because from since 1995, Mark, I could tell you plain, we got special zone here in Sinkit. Look at the Kittishan Hill. The Kittishan Hill was a special zone. And nobody went in Parliament to challenge it. And different land investment in Sinkit controlled by foreign nods come in and then went into Parliament and got discussed nothing. So listen up, Mark, me not say that me support whatever this special zone business when people come in here, come take our land because we small. We in a small country, and we got future children coming and they gonna want a place to live. They might want land to farm, and they gonna want different things. So, if a lot of people, whether we are going on, especially in Sinkit, they don't know the same thing happened down here in Sinkit for all these years, for over 20 years. We have different land special zone in Sinkit here. Our sugar land, some of them gone in special zone too, because Kittishan was a special thing. All down, what they call it down here again? This land them down, the auto shop, the land them auto shop bought in Whitegate, the Whitegate project, all those are special zone.
La Valley?
No, Whitegate,
Whitegate,
no, the horse track.
Okay,
The horse track, Whitegate project. that was a special zone project too. And these nobody question these things. Nobody question them. But you see, a lot of people just know they know we are going on from 1995 to 2015 when our land was going back and forth in foreign. And you know, Mark, let me tell you something, right? In a small country like us, I believe when some of these investors come in, release them the land. We don't sell out our land like that. And a lot of our sugar land gone in foreign hands. Our national land, where this land is private land in the US. And I thought they can't the people want to sell the land and develop. They want money and they want somebody to come in and develop the land to people to get working in the US. Well, that is the choice. But I think the same thing, the same thing happened down here in Singapore, and they then went in the parliament, got challenge nothing.
Caller,
where your input on that?
Caller, let me ask you something, because I'm hearing a lot about this we call it over there, Friars Bay.
So Friars Bay, yes.
So Friars Bay. You know anything about the land? Who the lands over there belong to? They belong to the people who doing business over there?
Mark, up to now, this land was belonging to the Wiggly them. The Wiggly them years ago, right?
So the lands are private.
The Wiggly them done dead out.
So the lands are private lands, not government lands.
Well, Mark, up to now, we don't know if it's government buy the land, government bought the land them, and sell them out to some investors to come in to build a hotel. We don't know if it's that happened, Mark. We don't know if it's that happened. Because we ain't getting the right thing. What they said, the land is private land. Right? But these people here for years, over 30-something, 20-something, maybe 30-something years, these people plan the land and nobody never challenged them. So it looks so fishy now. All at once now the land them come private. It just like me land, where I raise me animal in the mountain, Mark. I raise me animal in the mountain, and I see people coming billing all the time, and them was sugar land. Them was sugar land. Them is land where we four parents done work hard pan, and a lot of our land gone like that to foreign investors. I have no problem with people coming and invest, but you can't come in and invest and take our land, and we got future generation, young children to come. We're going to these young people when they want houses, when they want do farming or whatever, Mark. That looks sketchy to me. That they're challenge. You got to go into Parliament now because Nevis Island Assembly. I thought they concerned that I thought that the Prime Minister. I hear the Prime Minister say that he not involved with Nevis, but I'd never know that they got to sign something for this land where you want to develop wherever part of Nevis. With these investors are coming in.
Yes.
So Mark, tell me, Mark. So, do you think this thing is going to Parliament? You're going to go into Parliament with it?
Well, caller, the special sustainability zone is a special type of development. That is why it requires not only federal sign-off, it also requires Parliament, both in St. Kitts and Nevis, to sign off. That is for projects that are in Nevis. So that is why this is involving St. Kitts at all, because of the nature of this special development that we have introduced by legislation, and we are hopeful can provide some additional diversification to the national economy. The matter about South Friars is an interesting matter because like you, I think that I have not heard from the government in terms of saying, well, who these lands belong to. Now, if the lands are government land, public land, then I could understand those who are upset that people have to vacate the lands.
Yeah.
But if the lands are private lands, then you can't blame government for people having to vacate private lands. Caller, if you have a piece,
that is just it. But Mark, listen to me now.
Yes.
What I'm trying to say, right? That these people here own these land for years, you know.
Well, however long they're on the land,
nobody was challenging them. So I want to know that these people who come to the build the hotel.
Yes.
Who they buy the land from?
Well, this is what I'm saying. You're asking some very legitimate questions. Let me just go back though. You said the people have been on the land for a lot of years.
Well, a lot of years.
Right, a lot of years. Well, being on, if you're on my land for a lot of years, but you're paying me a rent, you're paying me a lease payment, then it doesn't change anything. I'm still the owner of the land. And if at some point...
Mark,
yes.
Listen, that is what I'm trying to tell you. Up to now, we don't know who is the owner.
Right, well, I agree with you. That's why I'm saying that there are some questions that legitimately need to be answered. I am, however...
Because, Mark, you're the liar, right? And you know that when a man can land for years, for donkey years, and nobody come claim them land, they say, you get these land for squatters, right?
Well, yes, but you're making a lot of assumptions. We don't know that these people weren't paying rent. We don't know what the situation was in terms of those people being on those lands. And I could give you permission to occupy my land, but you acknowledge me as the owner. The only time people acquire squatters' rights, is when they displace the owner.
Okay, Mark, let me give somebody a chance,
yes.
Because somebody might got something else to say. All right, good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the call. I think the call has raised some interesting questions, and I see a lot of noise about the South Friars situation. I try not to get involved myself in things where I don't have the information. But it is an interesting discussion because it really will depend on who owns those lands. The government is being blamed that some people have to vacate from those lands, but if those lands are private lands, that really has nothing to do with the government. That is between the owner and those who are on their land. So I have myself been curious as to why the government is being deemed to be the one responsible. Now, if government owns pennies down here, and if I were to go down there now as the government and start to tell people I'm going to bulldoze their place from down there, then that's government action, and you hold the government responsible for that. But if on a piece of private land down Four Seasons, somebody go down there and put up a shack, and Four Seasons say you're on our land and we're going to remove you from our land, you're trespassing. Well, how is the government involved? And so that's why I'm trying to get some clarification on that issue. Let's go back to the phones. Caller, good evening. You're on the mark.
Good night, Honorable Mark Brantley.
Good night, my brother. I'm good, man. Good to hear you.
Yes, I was there. You speaking about the war going on. And with the war going on, it hamper us in the Caribbean.
Yes.
Because right now, chapel coil and so gone up on the price in bringing in stuff.
Yes.
So sometimes when you see people out there maybe laughing, giggling, and talking about, oh, they're glad this and this, but they don't realize what's happening up there going to trickle down here.
Of course.
Right now, which I said, that Chapel Coil and the other company got up on them price and bringing in stuff.
Yes.
And that's really tough because it's the people that going to feel the pinch.
Man, like you say, is that single mother, that mother who have 3 children to go to school and struggling. It's a real struggle that people are going to have to endure.
Yes. And next question, which I would like to ask you: controlling of the gas price. Do you all have any control on the gas price? If the gas people them up there have old gas operating without getting any new one. You always have any control in them to say, no, you all still have the old gas, I ain't bringing any new gas. Is there any control in that?
Yeah, from what I understand, they would have to finish the old stock first before they move to new pricing. If that's what you're asking me about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is I have any control in that?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They would have to finish the old pricing, the old stock first, before they move to any new pricing. Because, they have a price build-up. Fuel is very tightly controlled in terms of government. So when they bring in a batch of fuel, the markup and thing on it is controlled. If they want to increase the price, then they would have to show that the next batch that they brought in has been bought by them at a higher price.
No, I like that question because I don't know if it happened here.
No, man, I would imagine in Tortola is the same thing. All around the world, governments are tightly control that. In fact, here, they will even publish regularly, Consumer Affairs would publish the cost of fuel, or the cost of gas supposed to be at the pump. So you and I go to the pump, we know exactly what we should be paying.
Well, I don't know if it's control here because, but out to the people who say that when they go to the pump, you see a different price, and this day you see a next price happening another day. So I don't know if you have in control, but I'm glad to hear you saying that you all have a control in that.
Yeah, because think about it, caller. If a tanker comes in, and that tanker, the gas, the fuel on that tanker would have cost $1 million. I'm just using a random number, right? Then you take the fuel from that tank and you put it in your storage tanks. You're not buying any more fuel until your storage tanks are running low. The second tanker now comes in a week or two later. If that new tanker that comes in now is saying that the cost of the fuel is 1.5 million, then you understand therefore the price is going to go up. But there's no basis to carry up the price if you still have in your tanks, in your storage depot, fuel that you bought at the $1 million mark. You get the point I'm trying to make?
Yeah.
So you got to get rid of that old stock first, and then you start to talk about whether or not there's an increased price on the new stock. That's the way I understand it.
Okay. So that means you with a department for government does monitor those kind of things.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Very carefully.
Now before I leave, I have to say this because here you're always speaking about how some people has behaved because people come into the country. You know what has killed me, Honorable? It have some people that behave like they've never lived outside of somebody's country. And sometimes you hear how they just behave. And sometimes some of these people renting some of these people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
If they're building houses to rent, ain't somebody coming in, you glad that they come in to rent your house?
But this is what I tell you, some of these things don't make any sense. And you just have to point out to people that they don't make any sense. You make the point that about rental. There's lots of our people who are renting property to non-nationals who are here trying to make a life for themselves, but they're benefiting by renting their property to the non-nationals. Then you still find some of them go around and have the worst things to say, and that's what I'm saying, that we have to be careful, because I would assure you, if you walk down into Tortola tomorrow, you go down there, where your town down there called? Road Town?
Yeah.
And you go into Road Town tomorrow. You can't walk for 10 minutes without running into somebody from St. Kitts Nevis. Right? Our people are all over Tortola, all over Anegada, Virgin Gorda. And my point is that you cannot have your family overseas and you want to go overseas and be overseas and you have, when people come now to Nevis, you got a problem with it. That has been my position, and I am going to stick with that position because I think that we need to be fair. And we need to recognize that there was a time when Nevisians were flocking to other shores to look for a better life, the same way that people are now coming to Nevis to look for a better life. Nothing is wrong with it. And people come, look how much we have contributed to building Tortola, building the Virgin Islands. In fact, I hear they call it, what they call it, Dung Island people or something like that. We have contributed, right? So, if we could go there and contribute, well, why can't a BV Islander come to Nevis and contribute?
True. And before I leave,
yes,
the caller from St. Kitts, right, who was calling about the land issue, I think a lot of them, they need to listen to the parliament when they have the house and when they have news conference. And a lot of them don't listen. A lot of them don't listen because I don't hear. And I don't listen to the parliament and the news conference the press conference that they have. And I hear the same speaker, they talk about the land issue where Panama is speaking. And Premier Jew, Honorable Jew, was saying it is people private land, and they gonna put them somewhere else. But my thing is that a lot of us as citizens in country, we don't watch what's going on to the parliament. We don't listen to radio. We more listen to gossip. And you see a panel who call from Mountstrat.
Mm-hmm.
He don't make me laugh, you know. He don't make me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things that if we don't listen to what's going on in Nevis in the parliament, somebody gonna say oh they and we gonna believe them. And we listening to what's going on and listen to our radio what's going on, things like that. But thank you for answering the phone. But I have the thing where I said I would like you to bring on some your people who the fix road, that I could ask them some question how do the fix road and having water not to be settling on the road. One of these days I would like you to make the person in charge of the road situation come on the radio, and I would like to ask them some question how they does go about fixing the road, because I want to hear how they just fix it, that because down here they don't fix the road properly. And I gone.
Okay.
You have a pleasant night.
All right, my brother. Let's stick with the telephones and continue to take some calls. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening, brother.
Yeah, I have three questions for you. One, can you state first categorically, for the record, that us ordinary divisions can go into the Sustainable Development Zone, the SSZ, once it's established?
Categorically, yes. Categorically, yes. Let me answer them as you ask them.
Okay.
So the answer to that is yes.
Is, how come you have not formed an IOC, an independent ad hoc committee, to oversee or scrutinize the proposal?
Right.
For
yes.
destiny?
So the legislation gives me an option. I could decide to do no committee at all, or I could do a committee to look at the proposal, or I could do a committee to look at the implementation of the project. We decided as a cabinet that we would want to put a committee in place to look at the implementation of the project. And we have already reached out to the opposition to ask them to appoint someone. They had some valid, in my opinion, positions that they sent back. And so we have been waiting to determine what the federal government is going to do in relation to this project before we go ahead and appoint that committee. But it is our intention to appoint a committee to oversee the implementation of the project. Those are the options that are given to us under the legislation.
Okay. On the question of secrecy,
yes,
you have been asking all this time, where is the secrecy? Up to this point in time, nobody that I know can say that they have seen the agreement. All we have heard is what you have said.
Well, caller, you have not seen the agreement. I would add the word yet. because we have said very clearly.
Please, could you allow me to ask the question first?
Okay.
And then you can answer.
My apologies. Go ahead.
Thank you. How is it that you're expecting us to make up our minds about something that we have not seen? All we have is what we have heard from you. And we hear different things from you at different times. That is a difficult proposal, a difficulty that we are supposed to make up our minds about something that we have not seen.
So what is the question?
You keep saying
yes,
that the general public will see proposal after when it goes into Parliament. I'm putting it to you that they will not see the proposal when it goes into Parliament. They will see it after. That time is over and done. How is that sensible?
Okay, caller.
Okay. Let me ask this third question.
No, this is a fourth question now. You're gonna allow me answer this third one before you go on to the fourth?
No, let me go on to this one.
Okay.
Please. I was at the town hall meeting held at the Anglican Church. And a young fellow, he suggested, and I kind of like the suggestion, that when it comes to getting the opinions of the ordinary division, why not do a referendum? I remember you answering the question saying that you cannot make a decision on a referendum. I don't know any better way to get the opinion of divisions by a referendum.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a gentleman call and start questioning how come people are saying that the majority of divisions do not want destiny. I could answer him by this way. There was a poll done earlier, and that poll said that 70 to 80% of divisions
Mm-hmm.
were not comfortable with destiny.
Okay.
I could have turned around and asked that caller, what has he done? Because as far as I get from you, you don't see the need for a referendum.
Okay,
A
caller.
referendum is something that tells you what the people want.
Yes, caller.
And if you don't want to know what the people want, you just decide what you think the people want.
Okay.
How is that even, how does that work?
Caller, I believe I know who you are, and I think you're older than me. Have you ever had a referendum in Nevis on any development? In your memory?
How is that question useful?
I'm just asking you, sir, caller. I'm just asking you a question.
Could I just answer you?
Well, answer me. Have you, in your memory, have we ever had a referendum on any development?
What I'm saying, Mr. Pune,
Yes.
is that whether or not there was a referendum before is of no moment.
So the answer is no.
It does not mean that you can't have one now.
So I'm saying the answer is no. I'm just trying to get the answer.
Okay. Well, if the answer is no, it does not mean that you cannot have one now.
But is the answer no or yes?
I answered it just now.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said even if the answer is no,
Yeah.
it does not mean that you can't have one now.
Okay. Thank you.
One is necessary.
All right. Caller, we'll leave it there because we only have 5 minutes left.
Would you agree that one is necessary?
No, I do not agree with you. But
Okay, so we agree to disagree.
well, as in a democracy, that happens from time to time.
Have a good evening.
All right. You too, my brother. Let's take this other call quickly because I don't want to respond to the caller. Good evening. Okay, we've lost that caller. Caller, you called in, and this thing about referendum, with respect, I think is a red herring. Why do I say it's a red herring? I say it's a red herring because as long as you and I are alive, people will disagree about what is to be done or not done in the country. I remind you that when we decided to build the Mondo track, there was opposition to it. When we decided to build the water taxi pier at Wally, there was opposition to it. There will be opposition in a democracy to nearly every decision that a government wishes to take. Should we go to a referendum? Should we have asked the people on a referendum if we should build the Mondo track? You see, you can't cherry pick it. You can't decide, well, I don't like this, so I want it to go to referendum. I like that, so the government should go ahead. And I think that is the difficulty, and that's why I say it's a red herring. Governments are elected to govern. And every so often, within a 5-year period, you would have a referendum. You would have a referendum on that government through an election. And you will decide whether I'm satisfied with the governance that that particular party has provided. That's the ultimate referendum. There may from time to time be issues, if you're going to change the constitution, etc., where it requires referendum. But I keep saying that we come up with these notions and these ideas because it's a convenient argument to make. We are opposed to something, so in order to delay it or kick the can down the road, we say have referendum. The reality is if you're going to govern by referendum, you'll never get anything done. Because I assure you, as night follows day, that no decision that any government anywhere in any democracy makes will have full support from the public. And if for every decision to be made, the voices that are in opposition say that you should come to the people and have a referendum, then how are you going to govern? So that is the point on the referendum. You ask the question and say that I say different things at different times. I don't know what you're talking about, Carla, because I am at a point now where I am frankly tired because I say the same things over and over, and I say 1 + 1 is equal to, and somebody goes the next day and say 1 + 1 is equal to 4. And they don't understand and they need clarification. It gets to a point where, to my mind, it's either people aren't listening or people are just determining to ignore the things that don't accord with whatever position they're going to take. A good example is me explaining that one of the points of negotiation is that you cannot vote if you live in the zone. Yet I hear this whole sound and fury about people being able to vote and all kind of drama. The question of people being forced to sell their land and government taking people's land, we've said that is nonsense. Not true. People continue to say it. So, Caller, I'm not sure sometimes what it is our people want. If it is that people are opposed to this development, then that is fine. There were some people who were opposed to Four Seasons development too. There are some people that are opposed to the Bank of Nevis being formed. I say those by way of examples to say that almost everything that you try to do, there will be some voices that are opposed. At the end of the day, what do you do? And that is why it comes down to a question of leadership. Even in our own households, Caller. Sometimes husband want to go one way, wife want to go a different way, children want to go a different way. You need leadership and somebody who's standing up and saying, I am the leader, whether I'm the leader in the house, the leader in the government, the leader in the church, the leader in the business place, a decision needs to be taken. And that, I think, is what leadership does. And leadership stands or falls based on the decisions and the impact of those decisions that are taken. And so I hear you, I understand, and I think that as a government we have really gone out there and we have sought to do our very best in terms of making information available. The last point I'll make very quickly, because we're out of time, is that we have said that the agreement, once it is signed, will have to go through a process. Go to the public, go to the parliament, etc. So I'm not sure why you're saying that nobody's going to see it until after the parliament. How could that be the case when it has to go to the parliament? So again, an example of me telling you what is going to happen, because this is what the law requires, and you deciding of your own volition what you say is going to happen. And we know all of us have opinions. They are like elbows or noses or lips or eyes. We have them, and they are worth whatever they are worth, but I can only tell you the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth in terms of what is anticipated to happen. And that doesn't mean you're going to like the project. I'm sure there are lots of things that you don't like, but it at least means that you have government that is responsive and government that is prepared to give you accurate information. With all the information in the world, you may determine you don't like the project, and that's okay. My job is to ensure that the people of Nevis have opportunities, that the youth in Nevis have jobs, and that we can move this island forward. And in doing that, we must make every effort to work together to make it happen. That's our show. The banner struck up. We have to go. We in fact went 3 minutes over time. I apologize, but I wanted to answer that caller. Thank you, callers, very much. Caller, next week, please call in a bit earlier. I enjoy these debates because I think that at the end of the day, it makes us all better. This show is rebroadcast tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here on Vaughan Radio. That's our show. Good night. God bless you.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not